Hello, this is Hannah with Hannah Crafted Gifts, and today I am sharing my alternative projects from the 10 Years of Growth Paper Pumpkin Kit. So happy anniversary, Paper Pumpkin. This was the 10th anniversary, March 2023, of this subscription service through Stampin' Up! And I say subscription service, but I always like to clarify, you don't have to be committed to a month-to-month subscription to do these kits. You can get them just 1 month at a time. You can always pause, or they call suspend your subscription, so you just get the ones you want, and that's what I do. But I definitely wanted this one because every March they do a little something extra for their birthday, and this year even more so, being that it's their 10th. So I'm going to share with you what I made, some of which is inspired by others, and I'll make sure to credit them, and some of which I came up with on my own. So the first project was the one as instructed from the kit, I think with very little, if any, variation. So this, I think just maybe used a different sentiment. I liked the sending all your love sentiment, but I loved this window card. And one alternate I made that took some inspiration from Cynthia Lynn Rakes. So I knew when I saw the window that I was going to want a fussy cut. I'm a fussy cutter. And for those of you who aren't, you're not going to want to do this one. I'll be honest, it was the fussiest fussy cutting I may have ever done. But what I didn't know was what I want to put behind the window. And Cynthia Lynn Rakes, who I saw online, did something I thought was brilliant. She used this flyer for next month's kit, April's kit, to put that behind the cutout window so that it looks like a stained glass window, because I think that next kit has that stained glass look. Which is one of the reasons why I'm really excited about it. It's going to have iridescent foil on it. The advertisement, of course, didn't, but it still has that beautiful kind of like melted glass look with the black outlining. So I thought her idea to put that behind the cutout window was great, and it worked perfectly with a Happy Easter sentiment, which I think is a little different than the sample of hers I saw, but I did take her idea to use that advertisement in the background. So for fussy cutting this window out, if you do want to do that, what I recommend is you take a sharp pair of scissors like your snips, and you poke through each pane in the middle and then kind of rough cut out the shape, I guess square here, but some other shapes up top. And then go back and trim very close to, but not up to the gold, because you'll need as much strength, you know, with that maybe 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch. And then you definitely want to have, you know, a good backing. So I put the advertisement and then also put just some white cardstock there to make that a little stronger. So that only used kit supplies, except I did bring in shaded spruce ink, which is the only color I believe that is in both kits, both the March kit and the April kit. So I thought that would work well. But otherwise it's just kit supplies. The next sample does pull in a few additional supplies. This one was my own design, but I have seen other people doing similar things. So I took a scrap piece of paper, and it's actually, yeah, it's an old instruction sheet. And I put it on the card front and held it up to the light so that I could trace the outline of the window, and then cut that out so that I had kind of a mat. And then I used my blending brushes with some additional inks. So this is the polished pink that came in the kit. But then I also used, what was it? Calypso Coral, which was a coordinating color, or Coastal Cabana, sorry. I always get those confused, even though one's pink and one's blue. So Coastal Cabana was a coordinating color with the kit. So I blended those two to create this sunrise or sunset. And then I used the die cut sheet, one of the die cut sheets from the kit. Let me pull it out here, that I had already punched the dies out of. And here you can see, whoop, I've got all sorts of things coming out of my kit, that I used the blending brushes to use that front and back as a stencil so that I'd get my leaves going different ways. And that's with Garden Green, another kit color. So that did pull in those additional ink colors and blending brushes. And I like the sentiment a lot too. You deserve the best, excuse me. So that was one of my own invention, but again, I've seen other people since doing similar things. The next card base, which might have been my favorite, I really like the window, but I also really like the bookshelf, because I love scene building when I craft. That's one of my favorite things to do. In this kit, 2 of the 3 cards were already that way. So this one's just as the card was instructed. Usually my classes, we go through and make one as instructed, and then I also share my alternates and teach at least one of them, which I'll show you the one I taught at the very end and kind of tell you how you can do it too. So I think this one was just as described in the instructions of the kit. But then let's see, and I don't think I added anything on the inside. I just realized I should be checking that as we go through here. Yeah, I think I've left those blank for messages depending on how I use them. This one was one of my own designs. So when I saw the bookshelf, I immediately thought of doing a little peekaboo. So I used my paper trimmer to very carefully cut this big opening so that it is a little pop out door. So I used a smaller, I cut some tops off of some of the leaves so that I'd have a smaller pot that, you know, didn't have plants sticking up quite so high, and then used another small pot down here to fill in the space, and added that sentiment, sending all our love again, on the inside. I also cut up some fresh freesia, which is a coordinating color cardstock. And then this, the Coastal Cabana, is actually off of one of the other die cuts in the kit. Let me see if I can pull this one out without pulling everything out. I'm making such a mess here if you could only see. Thanks for your patience. It's hard to do one-handed, especially because they all are sticking together and I don't want to rip anything. Hang on, gotta do it two-handed. Here we go. All right, so this sheet, I just cut some like off the top. You can see on the other end. I created some additional books just to fill in a little more space. And then added some of those books as well on the inside, a little stack of books with my sentiment. So that one I came up with. The next one, I got inspiration from Rachel Tessman, although I think I used a different card-based color, so the Fresh Freesia. And this is a type of gatefold card that I saw pictured online from her. And so it opens like this. And I used the Orchid Oasis, another coordinating color, ink, to write "To an Incredible Woman and a Wonderful Mother," which I had to do some masking to cut out what the sentiment was, which, let me find it. So the sentiment was "To a Wonderful Mother." So I covered it up so that I wouldn't get the "to," and then I just wrote in with the marker, because I was actually using the Orchid Oasis marker to ink the stamp, just a little ampersand and symbol there. And this is a great card to be able to stand up and display. So I really like that fold. Thank you for sharing the fold, Rachel. And then my last card I'll share with you is the one that I taught in the class. So this one was also my own design. So I really like the sentiment. This one does have an inside sentiment. "Here's to another year of growth." And so this card grows. So it extends like that, and it can look just as good open because of the way it's centered, obviously not side to side, but centered top to bottom with the matching border to the top and bottom on the side. But then I think also looks good as kind of the asymmetrical just down here in the bottom corner. So the way I did that was I took all the supplies you need for that third designed card. Here's the one as intended in the instructions. The only thing we didn't use was the happy, so I saved that to use elsewhere. In fact, you saw I used one of them on that Happy Easter card with the stained glass window. And then these are two separate purple pieces that are meant for that card. This Coastal Cabana leaf is the set of 2 leaves that you see was here. And I did cut that so that it was 2 pieces so that I could just make this tall plant. And I made sure that I didn't have like tips of leaves on any of my fold lines so that it wouldn't peel off. And then the way I folded this banner was I first just folded it perfectly in half, lining up the scalloped edges at the bottom. And then I folded it back on itself to create a Z fold, and just made sure that these scallops at the top covered up the white. I know it's hard because it's on a white card base, so that it just covered up the white so that you wouldn't see that behind. And then the pot is up on dimensionals so that you can kind of bend the card and tuck that banner behind the pot. The whole banner, the bottom half of it, is on dimensionals as well, just so that way, you know, because it does kind of stick out, it doesn't lay perfectly flat. So it looks like a little more fully dimensional and balanced. But it's as simple as that, really. And otherwise you're just, you know, making sure that you can see some of your leaves when it's closed, and some of your leaves, or you'll see all of your leaves when it grows. So anyway, I hope you like some of those ideas, and feel free to use them and just cite Hannah Crafted Gifts. If you did like this video, please click like, and if you have any comments or questions, I will reply to those. At least I always try to. And the most helpful thing you can do is subscribe or share this with others who you think would be interested. I'll be doing another paper pumpkin party next month, so if you're interested in joining us for that, so you can be part of, you know, crafting with fellow creatives and potentially earn a prize. I do a prize for everyone, then also see the alternatives I make with that kit and learn at least one of those with me, then reach out to me at hannahcraftedgifts@gmail.com, and you'd be welcome to either buy the kit through me, or if you bring your own kit, I just charge $5. And what else? I think that's it. So thank you, as always, for your support, however you show it, and happy crafting.